Did you know that the great English cricketer W.G. Grace, William Gilbert Grace, one of the most recognizable names in the history of cricket, was actually a cheat and a bully? A great cricketer, no doubt. He made his Test debut in 1880, scored a century on debut at the Oval, and went on to dominate not only English cricket but world cricket during that period. Scored close to 55,000 runs in first class cricket, got close to 2,900 wickets as a bowler during his career of 40 years. Yes, he played cricket for 40 full years. W.G. Grace was a doctor and he brought in the crowds to the grounds and converted what was casual game of joy and fun in England into a meaningful and national sport for England. And he made cricket popular across England and across the cricket playing world as it was then. He was the towering figure in the world of cricket. And so popular was he, and so much was he in demand wherever he went to play. Entire grounds were filled only by his presence. And in fact, when he played, the ticket rates at cricket grounds were higher than they would be otherwise. So obviously, he knew his own significance as far as the game was concerned, and he made full use of that significance. How? Grace was a doctor, and he was not a professional cricketer, that is, not a paid cricketer, but an amateur. Amateurs were cricketers who were not paid for playing cricket during that period. Professionals were. But Grace was actually a shamateur, that is, he was a sham amateur. In the winter months, when cricket was not played, he would do his doctoring duties and earn his money. And in summer, he would go to play cricket, but he would make demands of the national team and of the other teams that he played for that they would actually keep a stand in for him in his clinic. And this stand in doctor would do the duties and he would get that money, and he would also get match fees and tour fees which were higher than those of all the other cricketers who were playing cricket. So here was an amateur cricketer. He earned a lot of money playing cricket, and he also earned a lot of money from his clinic, which was active when he was playing cricket. And he still called himself an amateur. That's why he was a shamateur. The fees that were paid to him were actually 20% of any tour's total fees that MCC or England paid. And the other cricketers obviously did not like it, but he was happy about it, he was content about it, and he demanded that money. Cheating and the bullying and the intimidation and the demands that he made went well beyond that. He made the most of the fact that the crowds were coming to see him bat, because he was the man who had brought in art and skills into batting in a game which had so far been dominated by bowlers on bad wickets. So what did he do? One day, W.G. Grace was bowled when he was batting, and the bails came off. What does this man do? He quietly picked up the bail, put it back on top of the stumps, the bail that had been dislodged, looked up to the bowler, looked at the bowler, and told him, "Lad, they've come here to see my batting. That is, the crowd has come to see my batting, not to see you bowl. So you carry on bowling." And the poor bowler carried on like that. Another instance is Grace was batting close to 100 and he hit the ball in the air and he was going to be caught. And he knew that he was going to miss that opportunity to get 100. He was going to get out for less than 100 runs. So what does he do? He's leading his team, his side in that game. He declares the innings when the ball is in the air, just to create the impression that he has remained not out. Now, this is a clear case of cheating and intimidation. In a third instance, W.G. Grace scored 399 runs and he went back to the pavilion. The innings ended. What does he do? He goes to the scorer in that game and converts that 399 into a neat 400 runs. So he intimidates the scorer, and such is the force of his personality, and so popular is he, and so have people gotten used to fulfilling all the demands that he's making in the game of cricket, in the world of cricket, that they listen to everything he says. And he changes the score actually from 399 to 400. That's how Grace got his 400, not legally, but illegally, by adding a run, an illegitimate run. There's a fourth instant that I'm going to mention where actually the umpire got back at him. So, why did Grace get away with all this? Because the opposition was timid, they did not question his antics and tactics. The umpires were even more timid because they could have overruled him all the time. But they were too much in awe of his personality. They knew the control he had over English cricket and over English cricket administrators. They knew he called the shots, so they were scared also. And they remained timid and they allowed him to do pretty much whatever he wanted to do. And he was up to all this nonsense. His teammates also allowed all of that, though one of them said at some stage in his career that he would never want to play with Grace again. And the spectators, of course, lapped up his batting, his presence, his personality, his cricket. So he made full use of that. But there was one umpire who actually stood up to him and said, "No nonsense. I'll tell you what happened. Grace is batting again, and once again, he's bowled, and the bail gets dislodged. The bail has been dislodged. He tries his tactic again. He picks up the bail like he has done in a previous instance, puts it back onto the stumps, and tells the bowler and the umpire, in fact, he tells the umpire, 'Windy day, isn't it?' That statement is made to indicate to the umpire that the bail has come off not because the ball hit the stumps, but because of the strong wind that's blowing. But the umpire is not going to be intimidated by the doctor with a big paunch and a big beard. The umpire tells him, 'Yes, WG, indeed, there's a very strong wind blowing. It's a windy day. So when you get back to the pavilion, when you're walking back to the pavilion, put your hand on top of your cap. Otherwise, it's going to be blown off. So there you go. Keep your cap on, put your hand up, and go back.' Finally, one umpire had summoned the courage to question the antics, the bullying, and the intimidation of this one man who ruled and controlled cricket during an entire generation, who was one of the biggest figures of Victorian England, who in a sense defined cricket and continues to define an age of cricket. Grace is one of the figures who defines an era of cricket. There are very few figures who dominate an era, who define an era. Grace, Victor Trumper, Bradman, Viv Richards, Sachin Tendulkar, Brian Lara, these are figures who dominate the world of cricket and define an era. Grace, WG, or William Gilbert Grace, indeed defined an era, but the truth is that he was a cheat, and he was into intimidation, and he was into complete bullying, and it didn't look like cricket at all. Thank you. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel if you still haven't, and do press the bell button for notifications about my latest video. This is Vaibhav Purandare signing off for now. I'll be back soon with my new video. See you.